Yo, everybody, what's good? I'm Antoine Harris, your host of Life on the Court podcast. Welcome back to the show, and thank you for joining. Today on this show, we have a very special guest, CEO, founder of Hoop Juice Recruiting Services, Tobias Pinson. Welcome to the show, Tobias.
Hey, man, I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, as you guys know, like this show, we find individuals who are professionals that not giving up on their dream. And the purpose of the show is to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies to implore in life in your court and explore the journeys of others. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. Hoop juice. What is hoop juice? Why hoop juice? But before you get into that, like just real quick, Tobias and I, we both went to Winthrop University, but we went at different times. We ended up connecting in women's basketball, forming our bond there. But, obviously knowing that we both went to Winthrop, that just kind of made the bond a little bit closer. So just to give everybody a background on us and how we know each other. So, but yeah, back to the question. Hoop Juice, Recruiting Services, founder, CEO. What made you get into that, bro?
Good question, man. I do want to acknowledge that you were a much better college player than I was.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, Antoine did a lot of special things for the audience that doesn't know. Did a lot of great things at Winthrop. I was kind of mediocre there, but also, Winthrop is my home and my passion, so I love everything about it. But yeah, Hoop Juice Recruiting. I was coach for 5 years. Coached at the various different Division I, Division II schools. And I saw a gap on the media/recruiting side of women's basketball as far as getting exposure for those low Division I and below type of players, Division II and AI type of players. There wasn't as much coverage and true coverage of players. So made me want to start my service. I was really good at finding talent that nobody knew about as a recruiter on a college level. So I wanted to then again flip that and help more people, find scholarships and get connected to opportunities. So initially started as a women's basketball only service and slowly grown into men's basketball a little
Really?
bit.
Wow.
I would say about 90% of the business is all women's basketball though. So.
Yeah, so like you talked about your journey with, as a college basketball coach and just finding that gap and then just really kind of making that jump, kind of jumping into the unknown. Can you just talk to me and talk to us about like the mindset it took to do that? Because, you were secure in what you were doing as a college basketball coach. And like you said, finding the talent, had an eye for talent that, basically find those diamonds in the roughs. What was the mindset that you had, basically jumping off the cliff into your own business?
Good question, man. I've always been, a fine believer in like crisis kind of presents opportunity. And at the time, there was no COVID, there was no pandemic.
Right.
But how hard it was to find kids in different states, sometimes even locally, just coaching in West Virginia, South Carolina, Ohio. So I built relationships all across the country, and I saw how those relationships with the travel coaches could go state to state. So if I coach in South Carolina, my relationships in Ohio still existed, and I would just use that pipeline to bring kids up and down from the south to the north. But in general, yeah, the mindset, I kind of decided what I wanted to do about mid-season, my last year of coaching. Researching, man, studying the large companies, some smaller ones when it comes to recruiting, sports recruiting, and also studying other sports to kind of see what I wanted to offer, how I would offer it, how much I would charge, kind of what the going market rate was, and really just putting some feelers out there as well to see if there were any opportunities where parents were willing to pay for my services.
Cool. Yeah, that's a lot that goes into that. And we're going to touch on the business part of that and, everything that you did to get there as far as like the research. And I think a lot of people don't understand when you jump off the porch, like I said, and into doing your own thing, a lot that goes into it that, when people look on social media, like, yeah, there's some serial entrepreneurs that make it look easy, right? And we'll talk it up to be easy, but this is this business, being an entrepreneur, small business owner, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. You know, you got to be able to take, like I tell people, you got to be able to take some gut punches in this because it's not going to go as planned. And it's just a lot to unpack right there. So can you just give us like one thing or a story that you thought was going to go as planned, but it just didn't go as planned?
I would say the biggest thing, man, is just the sales cycle or just selling in general was kind of new to me per se. 'Cause I was
Yeah,
a recruiter, coach, and I was selling somebody else. I was convincing people to come play with $100,000 scholarship or whatever. But when you're going to people, asking for money, you got to come correct and give them a
right.
blueprint of what everything looks like. So just putting together my own pitch deck, and then obviously having the confidence to ask for what I was asking for at the time was definitely new to me, and just figuring out people and what's important to them, and just the whole selling process in general. Sometimes it could be some people come to you hot and ready. It takes 2 weeks. Some people, they may be sophomores or juniors. You
Yeah.
got to keep contact with them throughout the years, and it could take a year and a half. So that was really eye-opening for me, just how much it took to learn parents, players, and what they were looking for, and how to get them from non-customer to customer.
Yeah, so you talked about in there about the confidence that it took. So I pose this to all my guests. Like, what do you think is most important and why? Confidence or courage?
Confidence or courage? I would say confidence.
Okay, tell me more.
I knew I could do the work I was doing even when I first started, because I had a large network of coaches I was working with, but it's still that little hesitancy because I didn't have a portfolio to show them. Like my first couple clients, I was like, hey, I'm Coach Tobias Pinson. This is my service, no website, no social media, no nothing, but this is how I can help you. And they're like, who have you helped? And I'm like, well, I haven't quite helped anybody yet. But as I have a portfolio up, it's easier to pitch like, hey, I helped this person in this amount of time. This is what I can do for you. And it takes this amount of time. This is what I charge. But when I'm first getting to that last slide, or that slide where the number pops up, and I know it's going to be a little bit larger than what people were thinking. I was always a little hesitant to do that. But as I became more and became on, it became like clockwork, because I truly believed in what I was doing. I knew the value of what I was doing was pennies on the dollar compared to what I was, asking for. So.
Yeah, that's very important that you were able to do that, and having a confidence to be able to pitch, to have that unique value proposition. And then it's like, hey, once you go through and see everything that I can do and you compare that with the price, you're getting a really good deal out of it. So, and I think a lot of people, like you said, that sales cycle, same with me. Like I'll be honest with you, like it's understanding the sales cycle for things I'm trying to do in the educational system is a lot longer than I thought, especially with the school district that is in comparison to just one or two, high schools and middle schools. But another thing I want to tap into is with you having the confidence to be able to do this, the relationships you talked about. Just talk to us about the relationships that have been built before you made this decision, the value of relationships in general, and how that's been able to help you.
Great point, man. I would say, relationships in college coaching is everything, man. Those are going to be the people that lean on you during tough times when you may be looking for a job, or they need help with a certain team they may be facing, or just talking basketball in general, working out, taking care of the kids, doing whatever.
Yeah.
I built a lot of relationships across the country to obviously for my own personal advancement, but also just to build friendships and genuine interest in a game of basketball that was a passion of everybody. So, I use those relationships in a different manner, instead of me helping lift each other up, brother to brother, sister to sister. I was now offering, help to the coaches by sending them players of position and skill level that needed and matched to what they were looking for. So just changed the dynamics of the relationship a little bit, but also maintained it to be more of an aid to them. Also, as a business person as well.
Yeah, that's I with me, relationships and that's very key in what you just spoke about. Very, very key, and a lot of things that you do, and we've always heard it growing up, but it reigns supreme that it's not always what you know, but who you know. Because the people that can get you in the room, the relationships that you have built over the years can really put you in some very unique situations that probably a college degree, um, you know, honestly couldn't. So, it's just the value of those relationships over time is very, very important. Just really genuine about it as well. But I would say, when you having these relationships and building them, you have them built with coaches over the years. But can you talk about like the parents, like that relationship, like you're selling to a parent that probably don't know who you are, like that relationship, and just talk about even maybe the difficulties from first phone call to sale to happy parent, happy client, and their kids getting a scholarship. Like the value in that, like how tough it can be.
Oh, great point, man. I want to piggyback on something you said just now. You said, it's all about who knows you. And I would take that like a little step further. I would say it's no. What'd you say? What was that part you said? We was talking about who knows you. What was that part?
Oh, about going to a family and they probably don't know who you are.
Yeah.
They probably don't know who you are in the beginning of it, and you doing like a cold call or cold text, cold email.
I remember now. You said it's all about who you know, and I was gonna say I'm gonna take it further. It's all about really who knows you. A lot of people feel like they know a lot of people, but can you get a response back? Can you get a text back or call back?
That's key. Yeah.
Have you invested the time with that person outside of when you actually need something? Like, are you hitting them up to see how they doing mentally after a loss, or how they doing after losing a scout, or just different things of that nature?
So that's key, man. That's a great point. That's a great point. Wow.
Just checking in on folks. But yeah, just you asked me about like maintaining the parents. That was something that took me a little bit of time to learn. I was never really bad at doing it. It's just when people pay you money, they have a certain expectation that when I initially started, I did not lay out the expectation of the amount of the volume of contact they would have with me. So as I got better throughout the process and learned like from the sales to the fulfillment to the scholarship, I laid out this is how often I will be in contact with you, but my phone is always available. I'm always hitting college coaches up trying to play matchmaker, but you may not always hear from me. So if you feel like you haven't heard from me or you have a question, I'm working with a lot of people. Call me or whatever, I'll call you right back as soon as I can, always same day for the most part. But as I got better, I learned like I can't make myself available 24/7 because people hit me up 7, 8, 9, 10 when they get off work. And I was like, I had to start cutting my times off at 6 o'clock. Like I'm business too. So
people take advantage of that. Like people will. I mean, you give them the inch, like they take a foot, you take a mile, seriously. And it's good that you learned that. And just in that business space, like we really do, we learn on the fly. It's a lot of on-the-job training, on the career training. Like we just jumped off into this, and it's just like, yep, we want to be accessible. And then you start to understand, like, ooh, that could burn me out really quick. Because when we pay money, emotion is tied to it. Some people are just so emotionally invested into that dollar that they put out. They want that return on investment ASAP, and it's maybe not the case. It takes time. You know what I'm saying? Can you just talk about that? Just a return on investment, just for all my business people that are out here just listening, how when we're trying to get clients, customers, that it may take a little bit. It's not like a pair of shoes. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely. I think just speaking for the investment for parents, like I started out charging right at 1,000, and it slowly crept up over time as I realized how much time it actually took to place a kid and get them connected.
Yeah.
And it got as high as 3,000, 2,997.
Yeah.
as high as I went, just based on what year the kid was in school and things of that nature. So yeah, I learned to explain to them like, hey, this is a $3,000, $2,000 investment. It's gonna play out over 6 to 12 to 18 months, depending on where they were, a junior or a senior. I was like, this is how it goes. We're gonna first get you a highlight tape. We're gonna start sending your name out there. We're gonna make sure you're going to the right tournaments, playing for the right teams.
Yeah.
And it's a very long cycle. Like it's not, you may not see nothing happen for the first 3 or 4 months. But just
wow.
Junior, and you're, a lower level player, coaches aren't chasing the juniors, they're chasing the seniors.
Right.
So yeah, just laying that expectation timeline out before they even purchase from me helped me out a lot going through the process.
All right, so I appreciate you explaining that because it is very important that people, like even us as small business owners, like know that, and even to express that to all the clients, potential clients that are listening, like what that will look like. So I want to ask you, like, COVID 2020, how has that affected Hoop Juice? Has it made it better? Has it made it worse? Has it just kind of been even killed? Talk to me about that.
I would really say it helped propel the business for me because everything I was already doing was virtual. Like I was already doing highlight tapes for kids.
Yeah.
Again, in California, in Atlanta, in Missouri, and Texas. And I was already helping place kids all over the country, but it became a lot tighter for people who had traction. There were no college coaches going out. Everybody's jamming emails. So that's the relationship piece came in. Like I could call Coach XYZ at, whatever university and get them on the phone or, get them to respond to a text or email. And if there was somebody I didn't know, I knew how to get in contact with them. I think that was the biggest piece. But yeah, I started doing camps during COVID. Like I said, crisis presents a time for opportunity.
Yeah.
So that helped out a lot of kids for, I think my camps, I was charging maybe $100 or $75. So that helped a lot out. Helped get a lot of kids placed. So yeah.
That's cool.
I partnered with another group to do men's basketball a little bit after the main part of the pandemic, but
yeah.
That's been an exciting, unfortunate time for America, but exciting time for the business. Yeah,
I would say for sure. Some people it took a nosedive for people, and sorry to hear about those businesses that were affected negatively. But there has definitely been a ton of people who have started businesses, who have excelled in their business due to the pandemic, myself being included. And just being able to feel a little bit more free and freedom in how things roll from day to day is definitely something to be proud of. But at the same time, it can be a lot of work. But so anybody out there who is listening that's a small business owner, like, hey, keep going, keep going, keep pressing forward, and just keep learning. And like we all say, man, turn those failures into lessons, man. Like not even call them failures, just a lesson learned so that you're better moving forward. So tell us more just about Hoop Juice and where it's trending up or trending next. What's in the future for Hoop Juice?
Definitely, man. I think you spoke on something earlier when it comes to burnout. I had started working with so many clients, and I was a one-man band. So I quickly learned I needed to slowly start building a team around me.
Yeah, that's important.
Like I said, I was running the sales cycle. I was hunting out the prospects to possibly come in my service, chasing them. Then once I got them, I had to fulfill on what I said I could do. So that ends up being a long stress out cycle. And I'm juggling a bunch of kids at once, sometimes between 15 to 20 kids, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, depending on their year. And it also involves phone calls to parents, phone texting, trying to extract information from the kids.
Yeah.
So it became a lot on me, and I decided to stop working one-to-one with parents. This is something I'm working on now as well, and produce a e-course and teach people how to do it on their own.
Ooh, that's gonna be big.
Yeah, so
that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, it's not as easy as having somebody having a resourceful person in the business, but it can be done. it's just a lot of moving pieces to break everything down, but it can be done without a recruiting service for sure. A recruiting service just expedites the process because they have all the information. But I'm looking to pass the information from myself to others that maybe can't afford a $3,000 service, but can afford something in the lower, $300 to $400 range. So
absolutely, yeah, that's important. That's gonna be huge. That's next level, especially obviously, a lot of these things. A lot of people feel that the COVID things that are not going to go anywhere. The disease is not going to go anywhere. It's something that we have to live with, and maybe it comes to that. And I think virtual e-courses, webinars are very, very key in scaling the business and in the business world, especially for small businesses. I think is key, and I want to commend you for that, and on where you guys are going. We're gonna talk a little bit about life. What is give me a quote that you live by every single day or daily, weekly, or a mantra that you live by, and why?
Great question, man. One of my favorite quotes is from a guy named Coach Michael Burt, and he always says you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. And he's like, and his thing is everybody needs a coach in life. So you may be going through something, but you can't really see what's going on around you. You need perspective of an outside person to help, bring you back to reality sometime, or help you see exactly what's going on. That's just humans in general. So always be coachable. YouTube can be your greatest asset. Everybody have a mentor, but you can follow what some of your favorite people, or not necessarily famous people, but life coaches and things of that nature are doing to help keep yourself motivated.
Yeah, that's very important. Like, everybody needs a coach, mentor. Just people who are listening, your favorite person probably has a coach. Your favorite coach has a coach. Your favorite player has a personal coach. It's necessary, because no one does this thing called life by themselves. And that environment that you build around you, it's very, very important. It's very, very important. So I want to ask you, what lessons have you extracted from these areas? Maybe basketball that got you to where you're at right now, and starting your business to where it's at right now. What lessons or something practical that you extracted, just from that to get you to where you're at right today?
Yeah, I think just kind of growing up, from Section 8 housing projects, whatever. People always thought you always had to work harder, which you did at the time. I think there's stages in life, but the key now is working smarter. You're working hard, but you're working smart. You don't want to be working sun up to sundown, because you're going to burn out. I learned a lot about self-care probably in the last 3 years, just taking care of yourself so you can go perform at a high level when it comes time to perform. So I would say those two things are probably the most important things, in my opinion. Working smarter, and then obviously, self-care.
Yeah, listen, I had to, a school last summer actually brought me in to speak and teach their staff how to create basically self-care first aid kit, because it is important. And everything that you said with working sun up to sundown, there are people who really don't take time for themselves. Now, I always just try to preach and just talk about, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You just can't. And especially educators that are out here, coaches that are out here, like, you have other lives that are in your hands. So you got to be able to get to a point where you are taking some time for yourself, so that you can refuel, rejuvenate, and, like you said, go out and not just perform, but perform at a high level. At a high level.
Yes, sir.
What if parents that are watching, that have maybe an athlete? What advice, whether it's their freshman year or senior year, what advice would you give them as far as with this recruiting? Like, just maybe one. There's a lot that you can probably give, but give me one golden nugget for that mom, that dad, that granny that's listening that you can give that's going to help that PSA, potential student athlete?
Yeah, I would say really the biggest thing I found to be helpful is, college coaches are just like regular humans. It's hard to keep people's attention span. So the best thing to start with is a highlight tape. Whether you're in football, baseball, basketball, whatever, get you a nice 3 to 5 minute highlight tape, put your best plays, whatever you do on the field, on the court, in the front end of the highlight tape in the first 30 to 40 seconds, put your best stuff up there. And yeah, just be able to distribute that out via social media, email, text, just really having that highlight tape together. And I would say get one every season. So in basketball, there's high school season. The more you can afford, the more you can do, the merrier. And really, if you learn how to do it on your own, you could do a clip every game and then combo it as the season goes on. And then get one during the off season, which it may be with your club team, travel team, and things of that nature.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I appreciate that. That's important. Very, very important. If people don't understand that, and that's so good how you put that with the attention span, because like our phones, and social media have made our attention span really shrink a little bit. So that was very, very, very helpful. Very, very helpful.
Let me add on to that.
Go ahead.
The distribution key is important too. So you don't want to just get a highlight tape, slap it on YouTube, and think it's going to magically find college coaches. Like, you got to put in the work. It's like, back in the day with pre-social media, you got to pass out flyers for your car wash business, your lemonade business. Like, you got to pass out online flyers. Hit coaches' DMs, learn how to find them, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The distribution is just as much as important as the making of the highlight tape.
So to add to that, a question I want to ask after that is, so what is the best way then? Because you have phones, text messaging, you have LinkedIn, you have the social media sites. What's let's say in the beginning, what's the best social media site to really get the coach's attention? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok. What do you think?
Yeah, if you look at, like, I don't know, a lot of people probably don't look at what each app says it does. Like, Instagram is a photo sharing app. Facebook is more for friends and family. Twitter is a news sharing app. So tape, that's like a sports center type of news format. So if you look at the basic definition of all of them, you would think like, okay, Twitter's probably the best, which it is. Twitter is the best medium to distribute information. You can send information to college coaches. Most of their profiles are open, whereas on Instagram, Facebook, you have to friend people to see things. And you can tag coaches on Twitter and it alerts them on their phone. Whereas you can't tag people that aren't friends and stuff like that on Instagram. So Twitter is the distribution network. And also, Twitter has the best search function to narrow down a specific coach or a slew of coaches within your sport as well. So Twitter's the best place. And most coaches hang out on Twitter.
Man, so that's probably your favorite app, I'm a venture to say? That's your favorite
I got
app?
it. I mean, I got it on my phone. I got it everywhere, man. All my desktops, it's all over the place, man. I built my business through Twitter. Believe it or not. Like, if you go on Instagram, I got followers on my Hoop Juice page. My Facebook page has a lot of likes, but I don't really use it. Twitter is where I'm the most active.
Wow, that's interesting. That is really, really, really interesting. Got a couple more questions before we get out of here. Like, how is life in your court right now? How is life in your court?
Life is good, man. I'm excited to be able to expand into other sports. I think that excites me the most because recruiting doesn't change sport to sport per se. The season, how recruiting goes may change. Like, football season's the winter, and basketball season's the winter. Football may be the fall, but how you go about it is the same. It's really how you get into contact with the college coaches, your film, your grades, and your distribution of sending your information out. All that is the same. I mean, there's a lot of tips and tricks that people don't consider or think about that may put them over the edge or get their name in front of a college coach. A lot of small stuff, and we never know what might move the needle. So I have playbook, a bunch of different things you can try to see what may move the needle for you.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool right there.
Let me add one more thing in there.
Go ahead, for sure.
I did my own recruiting process out of high school.
Really?
Yeah, I ran my own. So really, my quote unquote company recruiting service, and I played basketball. My recruiting service started back in 2000. When I started high school, 2007. I started high school in 2007, graduated in 11. So I ran my own quote unquote recruiting process, and this was pre YouTube had just came out. I think YouTube came out in like maybe 2005 or 6, but it wasn't as popular. But I did end up getting a holiday tape on there, but I was sending out physical like DVD discs.
Man, that's so age now.
Yeah, like mailing them to college coaches, and just trying to navigate in that whole thing by myself. Yeah. That's why I really learned recruiting. Like I didn't know at the time that's what I was doing, but I learned a lot doing all that stuff by myself with emails and lists and all that good stuff. So that's really where it all started. Paused it as I went through college and graduated and stuff, got into coaching, and I really picked it back up and piggybacked what I learned then to start the company.
Yeah, man, what a story right there, man. Yeah, that's I kind of did a little bit of mine as well, but wow, what you had to go through. I mean, your commitment, discipline, and consistency that really, which I call the real CDC, commitment, discipline, and consistency, or whatever, man. You can always depend on that. And it's like you have done it for quite some time now, man. And I, like me, just as a brother of yours, and I just appreciate that. Just able to see that. Everybody has their different path, their journey to get to their own, their destination. But man, like your journey has been one nothing short of magnificent, and it's still going. So with the journey that you've had, what is something? We'll wrap up with this, man. What is something that you can give just the audience, just a tidbit of advice in life as they go through life in their own court, on their path, their journey to their destination. Like, give us something that they can do, something tangible, actionable that they can do moving forward.
Really, I would say just remember that your journey is going to be different than everyone else's. So, while your friend or somebody you may want to be like or intrigued about maybe making millions of dollars or $100,000, it's okay if you're not there yet. Everybody's journey. Yeah. I know, like in one of Steve Harvey's books or saying, he said he didn't become a millionaire till he was 37.
Wow.
He was grinding it out, trying to make things happen. You see him now, you would think, oh, he's been rich in his early 20s, which is not the case. He was still trying to figure things out. And I would say the biggest thing, what's worked for me is really just executing. Like you can think, plan, and strategize all day, but at some point you got to take that first step. So I always tell people, execute as much as possible and figure things out as you go. Like don't be scared to take that first step or keep planning, reading, take some action, and then go and read on what you need to know after you took the action.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's some good advice. Real good advice right there. Before we get out of here, though, can you tell everybody where they can find you, all your handles, Hoop Juice, anything else you want to add about your company, about your business when helping student athletes across all sports now? Just give them all the information before we get up out of here.
Definitely. My Twitter page for the basketball service is at hoopjuice_. That's going to be the same on Twitter and Instagram. You can stand on social media. Anything personally, my personal page is you just type in my name, Tobias Pinson. That all pops up. My Instagram exact handle is at BIZ homie, at biz homie. And yeah, like I said, I'm expanding into other sports, making a portable course solution to teach parents and players who want to help themselves get a scholarship, all of the steps there. So it's going to be a course for all sports. Working on that. Hopefully it'll be finished here in the next month or so. And, everything you can find me at hoopjuice.com as well for any like basketball specific needs.
You guys heard it here. Listen, go to hoopjuice.com. I've been on the website, very thorough, and the information that he's given numbers, he's given data on how he can help your PSA potential student athlete. So thank you so much, Tobias, for being on the show. I know that our listeners will be able to take a lot from your story, your journey, and how you built your business. I know what you gave them will help them in life in your court. So for more episodes, just go to or search us, Life on the Court, on Apple Podcasts, Life on the Court on Spotify, Life on the Court on Google, and now season 2, you can find us on YouTube. Type in Life on the Court, or for all those, you can type in Antoine Harris. And for more about our business and what we're doing with schools, with colleges, with universities, and with you individually, just visit www.antoineharris.com. You can email me at info@antoineharris.com. That is all for now. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.